Everybody, so I am partway through playing a game of Hawaii, and I thought I would show it to you guys to see what it's like. So this is a game that I purchased secondhand from the Falcon flea market last month, and I got it to the table so we could learn it, how to play. So let me show you the components. So the board is all modular. You have all these sections that you put together like a puzzle piece, and then each section here is put in there as well randomly. So every time that you're going to be playing the game, it's going to play a little bit differently. And then based on where everything ends up, you'll put all of the tiles. Now, when I got the game, everything was in one bag. There's 126 different tiles that you got to sort then. So I think going forward, we're definitely going to be breaking these into different baggies. So that setup is going to be easier. But so yeah, so you've got all sorts of things. Like this one here has a little boat, and then they have like the second kind of more advanced on the other side. So there's lots to them as well. And each one almost all have like a one side and a two side. And I'll talk a little bit about that in the gameplay. Another thing that threw me off in this game is we had two different kinds of fish. So you had let's see if you are able to see this, like these fish, and then I had these ones, and they don't refer to these ones at all in the rule book, and that's because, as it happens sometimes when you get a secondhand game, there's an expansion in here, and those other fish are part of the expansion. So I've discovered this now. So, and I think this is what the piece of paper is all about. There's a loose piece of paper in here. Hawaiian, the Grace of Kamapuaha. So I think that's the name of the expansion. So that explains why the components didn't quite match, but we figured it out. I'm just gonna reset kind of the player here and show a little bit how it works. The first thing that you do at the start of each round is you have like these ones that'll go around the board. They keep track of the score. And then you have these ones, and these are just turn order. And when you finish your turn, you get to select which location you want to be. There'll be some, I guess they're called prizes or coins, on these locations, the highest on the later turn. So there's an incentive for not going first. If you go first, you don't get any bonus points for that. So there's some that to consider. At the start of a round, you would flip this tile over to show that the round is over and you're starting the next one. And on these tiles, it shows different things. So at the end of the round, in order to score points, you need to have collected 13 prizes. And whoever has the most will collect 10 points. Second would be 7. And everybody else who does meet the 13 would get 4 points. And then at the start of the round, you would get 6 shells, which is the resource or the income resource in this game, and 4 feet. And the feet are used for traveling and kind of making it around the board. So that's what you would do, and you would hand this out. So these are the shells. The big one is worth 5, and then you have the little ones that are worth 1. So we'd give 6 here and then 6 here as well. Also, as we build the board, you'll be adding new tiles that will give you different things. Like this one gives you an extra 2 shells. That's always been added to the village. This one gives you a couple extra feet. Can't get that glare out. So a couple extra feet. And then I also have a fruit here that would give 2 fruit. So we'll get a couple extra feet on top of the 4 that we're supposed to get. So I'll put one back and get a 5 foot. Just, I wasn't sure what they were at first. And then we get 2 more fruit. And the fruit can be wild, kind of spent for anything, but you can't mix it up with other things, for if I understand correctly. Now, I was just doing a playthrough by myself, so I wasn't concerned, but normally you would put everything behind your little tiki hut so that the other players don't see what you have for resources. So we've got that available as well. Everybody starts with a boat, and the player colors on the back. So you start with the boat. So if you used it, you kind of tap it up. Then at the beginning of the round, you would reset it to show that you have it available. All of the prize tokens that are on the board would go back in. And that's kind of what I wanted to show you with this one. It's really interesting because in order to be able to go and collect all these different tiles that are available on the board, you need to set up the price for them. And that mechanism is pretty cool and I think pretty unique. I haven't really come across it in any other games, really. I don't think. So that's interesting. Now, some of them you'll notice have empty spots and some have printed spots. So you just have all the tokens in the bag. You'll draw one and then put it on top of the empty spot. So that was a 6. Now the printed one says a 9 there. So what will happen is we'll pull another one and it's a 5. So 5 plus 6 is more than 9. So this one, instead of covering this price, is going to go face down here as fish available if you go fishing. Now, so that means if you wanted to go here, there's only one spot, because when you go and you're going to send your worker to do this action, you need to collect a token for doing the action. That's the price you need to pay. So in this case, we need to pay $6 in order to get a little hut that would give us shells, or a little hut that would give us extra feet at the end of each round. And if we wanted, we could play twice as much. I'll play 12 and have it so that it's on the other side, so it gives us 2 instead of 1. Now that's a bit of a hefty price, but if you were really in need of that, that's what you would need to do. Now, because the price that you would pay is the seashells. So you would spend the seashells, and then this one gives you seashells, so it gives you money basically to spend in the game so you can acquire these different tiles. The feet that you would get, they allow you to move up. So for me to be able to go up here, so to do any actions along the beach, you're good. But to go up into the island, you need to spend a foot for each tile you go up. So you can go diagonal as well. So if I wanted to go here, and then the next one, I would need to spend an extra foot to go there. I'm putting them down as I move because it's very confusing to keep track of, have I paid for this yet or not? So this, I think putting feet as you move is a good reminder. So now from here, if I wanted to go to this one straight up or diagonal, it doesn't matter. Diagonal would still spend a feet. So that's how I was going here. Oop, I just knocked everything down. Then I would pay another foot there. Each of the location will give you different things. So you have tiki, like the little tiki symbols that you can purchase. The purpose of that is you will be filling this board moving closer and closer. At the end of the game, we'll be scoring the village for points, and each row is equal to 1 village. But you only score the village if it passes or reach the tiki line. So the further it goes in, the more your village is going to score, and then you'll be able to score your village. If for any reason the village doesn't reach, so you don't score it, everything in there just doesn't get scored at all. So you want to collect some of the tiki houses or the tiki symbols and go as far as you can. Now, if you ever cover a symbol that has a feet on here, and I would put another one, this then would give me an extra foot to add to my resources. We have the boats. The boats is used to go fishing. So when you go fishing, you have to put feet on the boat, and that is how much fish you can pull from the fish market. And the fish market will kind of change depending on what's happened, how many tokens got added to it. Now you can purchase this extra boat. If you get the second one, it gives you an extra feat. Or you do, everybody starts with one, but you can only go fishing for 2 tokens. So keep that in mind. If you get a surfer guy, you can add him into your list, into your village. The surfer will take away 2 points. So at the end, when we need 13 points, he would take away 2. Unless we pay twice as much, we get him on the upgraded side, then he would take away 4 points. So in that case, I mean, instead of 13, we would only have to collect 9 prizes in order to be able to score at the end of the game. So that's pretty handy. This one is just a nice long building that kind of pushes your village down, so it's easier to get it to reach the tiki symbol so that you can score it. If you get the upgraded one, it allows you to get 5 victory points. We have over here the gods. So each of these ones are all shuffled in. There's different gods available. So if you get them, they give you extra ways of scoring points or giving you different abilities. And then, of course, they have the first and second option as well. So they do different things. And then we have the fruits. So any fruits in the in your village is going to provide fruits at the end of the game that you can spend as currency. There's 4 different fruits. You can't have more than 4 different fruits in your village. And they'll give 1 or 2 fruit at the end of each round. We already talked about this. Then we have here, it's a little carver, like a guy carving something, and they get placed over here. So if your village scores at the end of the round, then you would get the bonus points that's on the edge here, and you probably can't see that, so let me show you. So, I'll move the board. So over here, we have the different locations. So you would put your guy, and you have to cover this first one before you can cover the second one. And then they would give you bonus 5 points if that village scores. So you need that village to have reached a tiki location, and then another 5, and then 10. And then this one would also give you an extra seashell when you cover it. And then this one would give you 2 seashells. And then the bonus, was it 10 points as well? So it's pretty interesting that way. So, and you notice everybody starts with 1 building that is built in already. So you would be doing that with this one. Then we have this one. So some of the prizes that gets collected have the spears on it. So if you collect a prize that has a spear and you have this house in your village, you would score 1 victory point. So you would just kind of take note of the victory points. So you collect points as you play, and then you have the end score as well. So I like with the end score, because then you don't know necessarily if I might be in the lead, but I might not win. It depends on the final scoring. So you're not playing knowing you're going to be losing. This one here allows you to trade. It's like if you have all 4 type of fruit, then you would collect 10 points. If you had 3 of them, you would collect 6, and so on. So it's just extra bonus points at the end of the game. This one allows you to trade resources. So the feet, the seashells or the fruit. And then we also have the hula dancers. And the hula dancers, what they do is if you have them in your village and you end up scoring that village, then you'll be able to score every building you have in that village. And it'll give you 1 point, but if you've upgraded, it'll give you 2 points. So that's what these ones do. So they're good to have just because it boosts up your location, your action. Now, if you're all over here and you're coming back to the beach, coming down from the village doesn't cost any feet, so you can always come down to the beach for no movement cost. And at the beach, you have a few actions you can do. So you can go to the fishing spot and go fishing to get extra prizes. Now, if you fish, you would get the number of fish as prizes, not the prize side. So, and then you also have these different islands that are available. So if I would visit this one, it shows that I need 3 feet. It would automatically give me 2 victory points for going there. So I would need to spend 3 feet, get 2 victory points, and then I would get to do what the island says. So this one gives 5 victory points. Once this is spent, it goes underneath the other one face up, everything shift down, and then a new one comes out. So you get new abilities that come out every time, and then you'll be able to they'll get cheaper because it starts at 3 feet, but over here it costs 9 feet. But it will give you 9 points, so there's prize to reward. So you play, and I believe it is 5 rounds, and this is a round tracker. And then at the end of 5 rounds, you do the final tally of your village. So some of them will give you points. If you've reached the tiki location, you get to score all the building that's past the tiki location. The hula dancer will give you extra points. Then the carvers, if you've scored that village, will give you extra points. So there's a lot of different ways to score. It's just a really neat, pretty straightforward game. And then it just changes it up every time, right? So it's kind of neat and interesting. And I really like that price setting, how it kind of determines how much fish is available that round and how many actions. Because like some of the locations, if you don't get to put an extra price tag on there or price, I think called price token on there, then you don't get to do that action more than once. And then you're limited to being the first one there. Then at any time once you decide you're done, you would send your big guy over here kind of to indicate what position you want to be. As I mentioned, there'd be 1 here, so nothing for 1, but if I go in second place, I would get this bonus 6 prize, so I would go second place maybe, or maybe I want to have first dibs next choice, but then I'm giving up the points, but maybe I've collected enough that I don't need the extra points. It's a neat game. There's a lot to consider, and then I really like how the price that gets pulled out really influence what you're going to work on and what you're going to try to accomplish or acquire, as well as where the location of each tiles are on the board. Neat game. So this is an older one. I believe it was published in 2011. So it's been around for a while, but it's just newly discovered for me. So that's Hawaii. If you've played this one before, let me know what you think. Bye, everybody. Hey everybody, so I figured I would take a moment as well to talk about that expansion that was in the box that I didn't know about. So from what I see, it's called Hawaii, the Grace of the Kamapuaha. And it adds a few things. So one of the things that it adds is extra price tokens. So it's just a regular price token. The big difference with this is when you get it placed into the fish area, it has a number of fish. So this one has 2 fish. But when you go fishing and you get this one, it becomes permanent fish. So it doesn't go back in the bag at the end of each round. You keep this and you always have 2 fish available, which lowers the amount of scoring points you would need to have each round, which is kind of nice. As well, it adds a couple of extra, 2 tiles of the same god here. So we have this god, and what this one does is it will give you a fruit at the end of each round if you add this to your village. And it also gives you 2 points at the end of the game for any permanent fish tiles that you've collected. On its second location, it gives you 2 fruit at the end of each round, and it gives you 4 points for each permanent fish tile. And the last thing that this adds as well, it's just a very small expansion. It adds a 2-point token, and this one would go automatically into the second position. So anybody at the end of the round, when they go and pick the different position they'd like to go, if they go first, they get nothing. If you go into second position, you would automatically get 2 victory points for that. And then if there were more players, then you would have different prizes that would have been randomly placed as well. So it was a very small, simple expansion, but it's kind of just changes it up. And actually, I'm kind of excited to get that permanent fish, because sometimes getting the prizes or the total prizes each round is a little tricky. Mostly since it starts at 9, but it ends where you need 17 prize. So having something a little bit more permanent is good. So that was the expansion. Bye, everybody.